Good evening. It's Thursday, September 11th. This is CTV News at 6. Here's what's making news tonight. Lockout lingers. A deal could be on the horizon for Dalhousie University and its faculty. Plus, we'll get reaction from Nova Scotia's premier on the federal government's support of an offshore wind energy project.
It will be a touch cooler tomorrow, then generally fair weather expected through the weekend and into next week.
Live from our Maritime's News Center, this is CTV News at 6. Here is Stephanie Sikos.
Thanks for joining us. Todd Battis is off tonight. An end could be in sight in the dispute between Dalhousie University and its faculty members. The university presented a new offer, which the Faculty Association has agreed to look at. CTV's Vanessa Wright has more.
Dalhousie University says an offer is on the table as the push for a new collective agreement continues. Though the parties agreed not to provide details on the offer, Dalhousie President Kim Brooks says it's more than the 6% wage increase over 3 years that they previously proposed. Saying in a statement, this new proposal represents an increase on that earlier offer and includes additional financial non-compensation items that we hope address some of the concerns articulated by the DFA. The new offer, therefore, has an increased cost. The university wants the Faculty Association to vote on it, but they say
we're not going to be bringing it for a vote, but we are bringing it to the members to have a conversation with them about what's transpired during the conciliation session this week and where we've progressed and where there's still gaps that need to be addressed.
Despite not having a deal and the Faculty Association not even voting on one, the university says preparations are underway for faculty to return to work. They've already started restoring access to faculty's email accounts. Dalhousie also says the fall break and December's exam schedule might be adjusted, something students aren't too happy about.
I'm not a huge fan. We obviously need to get back in the class and get a full course load. But I think, if we're missing our fall break, and like I said, it's more time away from family and friends.
There is a lot of people that are from farther away, and those reading breaks and summertime is really the only time they get to see their families, so it is kind of frustrating that that's going to be taken away from them. Yeah.
Westwood says Dalhousie's messaging to students about the return to classes is misleading.
I think, the board's trying to signal that this is almost over, we're almost back, but we're not. There's still work to be done. There's still time before the class are going to get underway, and the students shouldn't be lulled into a false sense of security. This isn't finished yet.
Vanessa Wright, CTV News, Halifax.
It was a standing room only crowd in Miramichi last night for a public meeting on public safety. Residents gathered alongside politicians and the police to discuss what should be done about vandalism and drug use in downtown Newcastle. CTV's Nick Moore with details about what was said.
People were spilling out of the Kin Centre in Miramichi for a town hall meeting about downtown crime in the core of Newcastle and Queen Elizabeth Park. The meeting, organized by the downtown Newcastle Business District, was attended by politicians at the municipal, provincial and federal level. It comes after what all sides agree has been an escalation over the summer of vandalism, open drug use and aggressive behavior. The town hall meeting included an open mic session.
You guys are elected to give us answers. If you can't do your job, step down.
Resident Doug White said he was disappointed about what he called a lack of leadership on the issue.
I came here tonight as a small business owner thinking that we were going to get some solutions, and there was absolutely none. We do have a problem here in the Miramichi.
White said there's a feeling in the community that police arrest people only for them to be released a short time later. Police Chief Brian Cummings said it's something he's frustrated about too.
I don't disagree with you, but that's where we're at today. So a lot of what you said, I agree with. I don't think any of these leaders have to go. We will work in collaboration with you.
I'm not pointing out the police here. There's a problem somewhere. They look for help. They don't get it.
Advocates for the homeless community were at the meeting as well, saying outreach organizations and the homeless population have been unfairly blamed for problems downtown.
Myself and these other advocates came out tonight just to show our unhoused neighbors that not everybody here feels that way about them. They have neighbors that care about them, want to see them thrive.
And I just want to make sure that the people don't get marginalized, because it's not everybody. And not everybody is committing crimes. Not everybody is vandalizing.
Last week, City Council in Miramichi Miramichi directed police to come up with a safety plan in downtown Newcastle. Police say they've already increased patrols in the area on foot and by bike. Nick Moore, CTV News, Miramichi.
It's day 2 of the mandatory water restrictions for some in the Halifax Regional Municipality. Halifax Water brought in the conservation guidelines to protect the supply levels in Lake Major. People in Dartmouth and communities from North Preston to Eastern Passage are asked to not fill pools or hot tubs or water lawns and gardens. If the water levels continue to drop, the utility could move into stage 2 of the measures.
So our teams are working now to determine exactly what a stage 2 mandatory restrictions would look like. And we're working with our big industrial and commercial customers now on how they can conserve their water now before we have to go to further restrictions.
Halifax Water says 40% of its customers are commercial. It says any move to stage 2 could be weeks away. On our website now, a vehicle belonging to a missing American woman has been found in a wooded area of New Brunswick. Details are at ctvnewsatlantic.ca. Concern over a new gas plant in the southeast corner of New Brunswick is not going away, and people who live in the Tantramar area are planning to do something about it over the weekend. CTV's Derek Haggett explains.
The folks who run the Atlantic Wildlife Institute near Sackville know a thing or two about the environment. They're concerned a new MB Power gas plant to be built just a few kilometers away will have a big impact on them.
We, as a community, have had no input in relationship to what's being thrown at us and expecting us to accept it.
In July, MB Power announced the Renewable Integration and Grid Security Project, a gas power generating facility to be built near Sackville. The area was chosen because it's close to an existing gas pipeline and to MB Power's transmission system. Ever since, locals have been very outspoken about the impact it could have on the ecosystem.
It will decimate the water table that affects this particular area, not only above ground, but below ground.
The facility is projected to generate 500 megawatts of power. In a recent editorial, MB Power CEO Laurie Clark says, "We know that some community members and local groups are concerned about this project, its impact on our province, as well as the pace at which it's being pursued. We're listening." Julia Bulmer has helped organize a weekend march to protest the plant.
That is the ultimate goal, that it will not be built here. And it's not so much a case of not in my backyard, but not just on the Chignecto Isthmus, for goodness sakes.
We just want to be heard.
MB Power says the new facility will be equipped with dual fuel combustion turbines, helping the province's growing demand for electricity. The march will take place at this downtown park on Saturday afternoon, and the group is also taking their concerns to the Legislative Building in Fredericton in October. Derek Haggett, CTV News, Sackville, New Brunswick.
There's a live look now at the Digby waterfront where it is currently 18 degrees. Let's get our first look at the weather now. For that, we go to CTV meteorologist Kaylin Mitchell. Kaylin.
Yeah, we're seeing that clearing trend at Digby, that clearing trend continuing across the Maritime. So we move through this evening and tonight. You know, yesterday we got an update from the Canada Drought Monitor, and this is run by Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada. And it goes all the way to the end of August. And no surprise, with August being such a dry month, many areas of the Maritimes finishing in the top 5 of driest Augusts on record. The drought conditions were analyzed as worsening in the Maritime region, with a number of locations, and those are the areas here highlighted in through the red, getting into what they describe as extreme drought conditions. That does include parts of the northeast New Brunswick, southern areas of that province, Prince Edward Island, northern western areas of Nova Scotia, and a few parts of the east, including a couple locations around the north shore of mainland Nova Scotia, and a few areas in Richmond and Cape Breton County. They noted that the areas experiencing surface water stress, such as mandatory water restrictions and impacts to agriculture as well. We did get a little bit of wet weather from that system that moved past the Atlantic coastline of Nova Scotia last night into this morning, though it was mostly for Nova Scotia, and even there, most areas reported trace amounts up to around a few millimeters and lighter drizzle and showers. There were a couple locations on the Atlantic coastline that picked up some rainfall totals of 10+ millimeters. No further wet weather is really expected for tonight. Again, it is clearing as an area of high pressure makes its way in from the west. That is going to give us some clear sky conditions, though, though, for night sky viewing. It's a waning gibbous moon, 78% illuminated. That'll be rising above the eastern horizon after 10 p.m. If you're an early morning riser, the planets Venus and Jupiter will be quite visible above the eastern horizon pre-dawn. A couple passes from the International Space Station this evening. One at 8:23 p.m. Not sure about the light conditions then, but 8:23 p.m. from the southwest to the northeast, about 6 minutes. A second faster pass at 10 p.m. from the west to the northwest. Stephanie.
Thanks, Ken. We'll see you again for the full forecast in about 15 minutes. We've been hearing about the challenges that some businesses face to keep operating. A slew of new reports help paint the picture and provide some context to some of the biggest issues. CTV's Callum Smith reports.
The Canadian Federation of Independent Business says companies in Atlantic Canada are more likely to be affected by infrastructure issues, traffic congestion, and construction compared to last year. The advocacy organization also seeks predictable and fair taxes and fees and cutting back on red tape.
We're seeing confidence levels in the next 3 and 12 months at very low levels. Here in Nova Scotia, there's more businesses pessimistic than optimistic, which is, of course, a significant concern, particularly in that long term.
But while there's been some positive strides,
it's not just on all orders of government. Some are doing good steps, but it's on utilities, it's on Crown Corps, workers' compensation, to really provide that support to small businesses as well.
A challenge across the board, but perhaps amplified in Atlantic Canada's largest city, as Nova Scotia Power and Halifax Water are both wanting customers to pay more. And that doesn't begin to address tariff uncertainty. A new report on behalf of TD points to rising costs as the top concern for 1 in 3 businesses. The most noticeable increase has been since COVID, with chef and restaurant owner Gaetan Charret pointing to a 21% increase in food costs in the last 5 years.
When your price goes up at a restaurant, it comes with the downside of, like, you see your customer count goes down as well. So you have no choice but to absorb a good part of it. So, like, our bottom line, I would say, is like reduced by 50% since then.
Charret has been in the business for more than 3 decades and owns a handful of different establishments, including Milestones in Dartmouth. Rising costs are certainly top of mind for him.
Definitely, this is like the cost of everything. Like, everything has went up. Like, it's the insurance, the labor, the food costs, like the construction costs as well. Like, because we built this restaurant just after the pandemic.
But he says while many items like takeout containers and frying oil have cooled off, the same can't be said for beef. Speaking of rising costs, one industry that's really seen the increase has been the construction trade. The Construction Association of New Brunswick tells me since 2020, materials have shot up 31% and labor has gone up 18%. Stephanie.
Thanks, Callum. CTV's Callum Smith reporting in Halifax. A close call in Waterville, Nova Scotia today when a driver lost control of their truck. Police say the Dodge Ram entered the post office parking lot and crashed into the building. A person inside received minor injuries and was treated by EHS. The driver of the truck was not injured. Police say no charges are expected.
Get the Maritime's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
The New Brunswick SPCA is coming off its busiest year yet. According to a new report, 2024 was the most active year in the organization's 145-year history, with staggering statistics to show for it. CTV's Josh Smith reports.
According to its year-end report, the New Brunswick SPCA received more than 4,600 calls, with over 3,000 of those related to animal cruelty and neglect.
They are 50% higher than in 2020.
Leslie Rogers of the New Brunswick SPCA explains the uptick in calls. And it's not just all cats and dogs. It includes livestock animals, too.
It's sort of the socioeconomic fallout from everything that's happened in the last 5-6 years since COVID. So we have increase in the cost of living, instability in the economy.
Rogers says the spike is putting pressure on shelters across the province. Many are over capacity, and some are facing possible closures if the trend continues. At this Moncton Animal Shelter, they've seen their numbers increase by about 8%, and it's not slowing down. They are on track to take in about 1,800 animals this year.
We have a number of preventative programs. We have Roxy's Pet Pantry is the
pet food bank, another preventative program. It's for families who's maybe had an accidental litter. We'll actually help you care for those pets.
With 17 cruelty cases pending before the courts, the SPCA warns penalties may not be doing enough to deter the crimes.
We need to hold people accountable who've committed crimes. Those penalties, however big they are, aren't necessarily always sufficient to address some of the underlying socioeconomic issues.
Due to the rising demand, the organization is asking for help from the provincial government.
So we're having ongoing discussions with the provincial government, and we're hopeful we can come to an agreement.
The future of animal welfare in New Brunswick may depend not only on officers and shelters, but the communities willing to stand behind them. Josh Smith, CTV News, Moncton.
Still to come, a clearing sky and cool temperatures tonight. Kalen returns with his full forecast. But next, relying on the wind. The federal government has put its weight behind a major offshore wind energy project called Wind West. Nova Scotia Premier Tim Houston joins us next to talk about it. Stay with us.
Start your morning with us an hour early. We have a fresh new look starting Monday, September 15th, filled with news, weather, and the same laughs you love. Your Morning Atlantic from 6 to 9 on CTV2 and ctvatlantic.ca.
Prime Minister Mark Carney's list of nation-building projects has been released. It includes a liquefied natural gas or LNG expansion project, and here on the East Coast, a major wind energy project. To talk about that, we've reached Premier Tim Houston in Stellarton, Nova Scotia. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Premier Houston, what's your reaction to the PM throwing his weight behind the Wind West project you have been championing?
I'm incredibly excited. This is a huge day for Nova Scotia, a huge day for Atlantic Canada, but really for Canada as well. I mean, the projects across the country, the focus on making Canada an energy superpower and building Canada strong. These are really important things, so I'm really grateful for the Prime Minister's leadership on that. And I'm really grateful that Ottawa and Minister Hudson and Prime Minister, they recognize that Nova Scotia can contribute to the goal of making Canada an energy superpower with our wind project. The offshore wind potential we have is so incredible. They've recognized that. I recognize that. And what this really means in the fullness of time is clean, green energy, significant amounts of it that will attract billions of dollars, tens of billions of dollars of investment to Nova Scotia, to Atlantic Canada, to build out the transmission, tens more billion dollars to build the generation, thousands of jobs over for generations. This is a big day for our province, and I'm grateful to Ottawa, but I'm really excited for Nova Scotia. It's a big day.
And you say today's recognition of Wind West as a project of national interest is an important first step in the process. So when will we see wind turbines in the water, and when can we expect the power to begin flowing?
Yeah, so it's going to take a couple of years to build this project out, 5 years, something in that range, to really get it flowing. But today's really important because the next step is, well, obviously we'll open up, requests for proposals. We'll start to pre-qualify bidders, and then we'll have a bidding process. But what really happened today is, we have incredible potential. We can produce over, 40, 50, 60 gigawatts of clean, green energy offshore in Nova Scotia, and we only use 2 to 3. So when you produce that much, you need to have a market for the rest. So that means, you need to be able to transmit it and sell it to other markets, maybe in Quebec or Ontario or beyond. And that was kind of a piece that was missing. But with the designation today, we can go back to the market, people who will be bidding for the opportunity to build it and spend the money. We can go back to them and say, look, now there is certainty that the country is behind this and we can build out the transmission and you will be able to move the energy. So it's really significant. It increased the value of our proposition to the private money people who are going to make the investments and make those jobs, create those jobs, and really do a lot of good for Canada. The risk just went down for them, so that means the value went up, the opportunity went up, and I'm really grateful and excited about what this means for the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years for our province, because it's big.
And you've talked about the job creation and the benefits of this, but do we know how much Nova Scotians will be putting into this, Nova Scotia taxpayers?
Yeah, so Minister Hodgson has said he wants to come down right away and talk about the details of the federal government, maybe investment tax credit program, access to the infrastructure bank. But, you know, look, it's going to be private money that drives this, and that's what's really important. And the jobs will be across the spectrum. It'll be everything from, you know, highly qualified engineers, really sophisticated and specialized engineers, caterers, to every possible type of tradesperson. So this is a big, big boon for Nova Scotia, and it's because in the offshore we have world-class wind speeds, the best in the world, you know, by 10% faster than the North Sea. Big, big wind speeds. It blows a lot. The bottom depth is good. It looks like the bottom structure is good for, you know, erecting fixed towers there. So we have all of the conditions. What we just needed was some certainty over the path to market and the transmission. There'll be investments by governments in this, provincial and federal, I'm sure, but I am absolutely 100% convinced that the return on those investments will be dwarf them. But we have to make it happen, and the return to the province and the opportunities that this creates for, you know, not just people building this project, but having access to that wind it opens doors for all kinds of other industries as well, investments in our ports, investments in manufacturing. This is a really, really big moment for Nova Scotia, and I'm very excited.
And I know it is still early. Is there a dollar amount that you're hoping for from the federal government for this project?
Well, we're going to talk to them on the investment tax credit thing. That would be so people will invest money, and then they'll get tax credits, you know, on their tax returns and stuff like that. We'll look at it like we're asking for somewhere in the range of 15 to 20% in tax credits. That's not uncommon. That happens on all kinds of other projects that have been across the country. We're not asking for anything new. We're just asking for programs that the federal government has to be extended, or to make sure that they include this offshore wind opportunity. But what a great day for Nova Scotia and a great day for Canada all around.
All right, well, thank you for your time tonight, Premier.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Nova Scotia Premier Tim Houston in Stellarton, Nova Scotia. We'll take a short break now. Weather is just ahead. Stay with us. There's a look at the Fredericton webcam. It is 19 degrees right now there, and it is still sunny at this hour.
Yeah.
Certainly different. Earlier when I was walking my dog around the Halifax area, very misty conditions.
Yes, that's what was left of that low pressure system was moving past the Atlantic coastline of Nova Scotia. Now that is headed off towards the northeast. So now we're into the clearing trend coming up in behind it. Seeing a lot of sunshine there in Fredericton. Parts of Nova Scotia that were cloudier earlier today, really finishing the day with a lot of sunshine as well. Some of the cloud cover still holding on to eastern parts of that province, but that'll be clearing as we move through tonight. Let's take a look at weather conditions across the country. We'll go back to our forecast here in the Maritimes in a moment. So looking out west, there's still a bit of a ridge that's built up the jet stream, so there's some warmer temperatures, most noticeable in through parts of the prairies right now. We've got 26 at Edmonton, 24 at Calgary. Seem to be missing our report currently at Fort McMurray. Happens from time to time. Winnipeg sitting at 20 degrees, reporting some cloudier conditions. Up north right now, Whitehorse, a mix of sun and cloud sitting at 15. Mix of sun and cloud at Yellowknife at 18 degrees. Callowit is cooler, sitting at 7, and reporting some cloudy periods. Down and through southern Ontario, temperatures have warmed up a little bit in the southwest, so winds are up to around 25 degrees. It's low 20s for Ottawa and Montreal, as well as Quebec City sitting right at 20. Cooler in Labrador. Labrador City right now sitting at 6 degrees and 8 at Happy Valley Goose Bay. St. John's sitting at 12. And then here in the Maritimes, we've got 22 at Fredericton. That's at the airport. 19 degrees at Charlottetown and 21 at Halifax. All right, taking a look at our forecast timeline for cloud cover and precipitation. Talked about good night sky viewing conditions tonight a few minutes ago. And the reason for that is we've got that area of high pressure building in from the west. So the cloud cover that we do have around the Maritimes moving into the first part of this evening will continue to clear away as we move towards and after midnight. It is possible that a few fog patches develop during the overnight hours. The highest chance of fog developing tonight will actually be around eastern areas of Nova Scotia, including Cape Breton. Any fog that does develop will be dissipating as we move from the morning into Friday afternoon, which around much of the region will feature very sunny conditions. Across New Brunswick, mostly sunny for much of Nova Scotia. A bit more of a mix of sun and cloud around the North Shore and a few areas of Cape Breton. There will be some cloud cover that moves north to south over the Gulf of St. Lawrence, arriving in Prince Edward Island throughout the day tomorrow. So for PEI, I would describe it as turning over to cloudy periods as we move from the morning and into the afternoon. Winds remain out of the north for tonight and for tomorrow. Like today, they're going to be a little bit breezy on Friday. They're going to have some gusts up between 20 and 40 kilometers per hour, even some coastal areas, Prince Edward Island, eastern areas of Nova Scotia. Get a little bit on the blustery side with some peak gusts between 30 and 50. That would be exposed areas of the coast and at higher terrain. Lows in the forecast for tonight will be coolest for the province of New Brunswick, mostly between 4 and 9 degrees, 10 at Grand Manan. For Prince Edward Island tonight, low temperatures 8 to 12 degrees. And for Nova Scotia, most of the low temperatures, high single digits, low teens. Highs in the forecast tomorrow for communities in the north of New Brunswick, up between 18 and 20 degrees. A sunny and breezy day. Fredericton tomorrow with a high temperature near 22 for St. Stephen and 21 for St. John, and then slightly cooler for Moncton near 19. Prince Edward Island for tomorrow with high temperatures in the mid to high teens, 16 to 18 degrees, cloudy periods and breezy. A mix of sun and cloud in eastern areas of Nova Scotia, slightly cooler compared to the last couple of days, highs of 17 to 19. Northern and central areas of Nova Scotia with high temperatures between 18 and 20 degrees for tomorrow. The Annapolis Valley with high temperatures near 19, 18 at Digby, and on the south shore of Nova Scotia, most of the high temperatures 19 to 22. In the 7-day outlook for New Brunswick coming up on Saturday, it's a mix of sun and cloud, highs in the low 20s. A low chance of showers on Sunday, 30% chance. Then sunshine in the forecast for Monday and Tuesday of next week. Tuesday a little bit milder, highs around the mid-20s. Mix of sun and cloud Wednesday and Thursday. Here we are for Nova Scotia for the weekend forecast. On Saturday, mix of sun and cloud, high temperatures, high teens, low 20s. Mix of sun and cloud for Sunday, and sunshine in the forecast for Monday and Tuesday of next week, and then Wednesday and Thursday, a mix of sun and cloud. And for Prince Edward Island for the weekend ahead, a mix of sun and cloud, high temperatures near 20 degrees on both days. Same thing goes for Monday. Sunnier conditions in the forecast for Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, then a mix of sun and cloud on Thursday. Stephanie.
Thanks, Kaylin, and we'll check in with you later for the wake-up weather. But next, we'll talk more about the challenges businesses are facing and the new report out by the Canadian Federation of Independent Business. And we have this story.
Hi, I'm Sherry White. I'm from Newfoundland, and my film Blueberry Grunt is premiering here at the Atlantic Film Festival, and I can talk about that a little more soon.
Mornings with Crash and Sarah Betts.
What would you waste $20,000 on? Dream Big Keywords continue tomorrow.
Yeah, I waste whatever my wife lets me. That and beat the bank tomorrow morning, too.
A new report is shedding light on how small businesses feel about their relationship with municipalities. The Canadian Federation of Independent Business says half of small businesses in our region say things could be friendlier with towns and cities. To talk about this, the CFIB's Director of Legislative Affairs for Nova Scotia, Duncan Robertson, joins us. Thanks for speaking with us, Duncan.
Thanks for having me.
So this report says municipalities can improve conditions by cutting costs and red tape. Explain that. How bad is it?
Well, like you said, over half of our membership across Atlantic Canada see the municipality that they operate in as not being small business friendly. The main indicators, as you also stated, was property taxes, but also red tape and crime and safety, particularly when we look at the cost impact of property taxes. Around 6 in 10 of our members, they have a hard time to predict what these rates will be in the future, which makes it harder for them to plan for their business, and that has an impact as well. And over 3/4 of our membership across Atlantic Canada don't see the property tax dollars they spend as being good value for money.
So what are you hearing from businesses when it comes to this?
Well, they're looking for some balance and some fairness, particularly when we look at what we call the tax gap, which is the difference in rate between a commercial and residential property. That goes in Atlantic Canada between 2 and 4 times what a residential property would pay. So we want to see some fairness there. And there's some understanding that we really need to see these costs reduced, because it does mean that less dollars are going into small businesses, which again, we need more dollars in these small businesses for productivity and just to ensure that we're keeping a live and vibrant community.
And you sort of mentioned about how, this is about saving businesses time and money. What is the CFIB calling for?
So again, we're looking for that property tax rate to be reduced when possible, closing that gap, and also ensuring that there are business services out there in municipalities to ensure that these tax dollars are being used effectively, ensuring that there's online services, online portals, construction mitigation funds to help small businesses impacted by construction. These are all ways that municipalities can step up and improve their small business environment. And hopefully next year we can get above 50%. So now when I was in school, a 50% grade would not have flown.
And you have also talked about, how business owners say these taxes and fees, they're unpredictable. Talk a little bit more about that.
Well, to be a small business owner, to be successful, it is predicated on being able to look, 5-10 years in the future and have an understanding of where costs are going to go. And when we find out year over year what tax rates will be, that's not a good way to really operate. They need to have a forecast. So we want to see, costs related to property taxes, a forecast there, but also considering utility costs. So here in Nova Scotia Power, Halifax Water, these utilities are increasing, and we need to have a clearer picture into the future to ensure we can have a stable business environment.
And there are obviously lots of things that impact businesses, infrastructure, congestion, construction, things like that. Tell us about some of those impacts.
Yeah, so particularly these areas, we're seeing more businesses cite these as a concern, particularly when we look at aging or outdated infrastructure, congestion. Of course, that's what we're hearing. So ensuring that we're, ensuring that there is proper investment to improve these areas is of course important. Making sure that it's easy to get to main streets, to across, the municipality, not just downtown, but to the outskirts as well. All these vibrant communities. This is a key area, and ensuring that we're a mobile municipalities across Atlantic Canada is of course very important.
All right, well, we will have to leave it at that for tonight. Thank you for your time, Duncan.
Thank you very much.
Duncan is the CFIB's Director of Legislative Affairs for Nova Scotia and joined us from Halifax this evening. We'll take a short break now. Stay with us.
The opinions expressed in this segment are solely those of the commentator. They do not purport to reflect the opinions or views of this station, CTV News, Bell Media, or its employees.
Tonight, Steve Murphy has some thoughts on the effectiveness of a staple of our parliamentary system, question period. Here's Steve.
The House of Commons resumes sitting in just a few days, but just before the summer recess, I watched question period. It's an hour I'll never get back. What a terrible waste of time. Although there were serious issues to discuss, including cost overruns revealed in the recent Auditor General's report, the honourable members on both sides of the House spent their time and ours repeating themselves. Opposition members reading essentially the same questions over and over again, implying government corruption and incompetence, and ministers mostly reading responses which were more statements than answers. The same thing over and over again. Question period has always been theatrical in nature, and even more so since the cameras were placed in the House of Commons chamber almost 50 years ago. Television coverage was supposed to give Canadians an unobstructed view of the way government works. Sadly, it's had just the opposite effect, reducing what should be a lively exercise in accountability into a tightly scripted and often boring exchange of poorly delivered talking points. As journalist Andrew Coyne observes in his current bestseller, The Crisis in Canadian Democracy, it's not supposed to be this way. The members aren't supposed to read from documents unless they're tabled. But that would be a waste of time because the questions and answers are often so devoid of substantial content. The reduction of question period to its current anemic state is by no means the most serious problem with our government. The Coyne book exposes them all. But it is a high-profile, disappointing daily example of what's wrong with the way we're governing ourselves. I'm Steve Murphy.
In the Lifeline tonight, new data shows the number of Canadians in emergency rooms for pneumonia more than doubled last fall over the previous years. CTV's Amanda Devison has more.
The number of visits to Canadian emergency departments for pneumonia doubled last fall over the previous year.
New data released today by the Canadian Institute for Health Information says young people between 5 and 19 years old were the hardest hit. Pediatric infectious diseases specialist Dr. Anna Banerjee says the numbers likely reflect an influx of patients with atypical pneumonia, known as walking pneumonia, during last year's respiratory illness season. Walking pneumonia usually causes milder symptoms than other types, but in some cases can be severe and lead to neurological symptoms. Researchers say smoke from Canadian wildfires in 2023 led to an enormous and far-reaching health burden. A peer-reviewed study published in the journal Nature estimates that the smoke caused more than 80,000 premature deaths globally. About 8,000 of those deaths were in Canada. The fire season 2 years ago shattered records, with Natural Resources Canada data showing that more than 6,000 fires scorched 150,000 square kilometers. Finally, space flight makes certain human stem cells age faster. That's according to a new study furthering scientists' understanding of the potential effects of space exploration on the human body. Stem cells are found throughout the body, and they can make more of themselves or turn into other specialized cells, including blood, brain, or bone cells, for maintenance and repair. Authors of the study found that stem cells decline in function while in space, which reduces their ability to regenerate. NASA funded part of the study, which was performed during 4 International Space Station resupply missions. Experts say these findings mean that long missions could weaken the blood and immune systems, potentially raising health risks for astronauts. Preliminary results of a separate study found stem cells can recover from the accelerated aging once an astronaut returns to Earth, although the recovery takes about a year. The research was published in the journal Stem Cell. With Health and Medical News, I'm Amanda Debison for The Lifeline.
We're on the scene with Katie Kelly, and the Atlantic International Film Festival continues.
Yes, it does, Steph. So tonight we feature another East Coast film that's generating a ton of buzz.
You sure we want to go? The annual anniversary blueberry picking excursion.
Premiering tonight at the Atlantic International Film Festival.
He was with you, Harold, when it happened.
A marriage unravels under the weight of a shared trauma in Sherry White's Blueberry Grunt. It's the highly anticipated follow-up to Maudie, her acclaimed drama starring Ethan Hawke and Sally Hawkins.
I've had lots of films here in the past, and just happy to be back with it.
Far away from me, friends and relations.
This story follows a couple on their anniversary camping trip, a blueberry picking tradition that soon turns into a fight for survival.
They've been dealing with a bit of an issue in their family, and over the course of this camping trip, you see that they have very different ways of coping and dealing, and so it kind of all comes to a head.
Actor Joel Thomas Hines plays Harold Whittle.
He just tries to get through the world with a little bit of a song and dance, and gradually, as the story unfolds, he can't keep that up anymore, and everything comes falling down around him and his wife.
The film was shot across Newfoundland, including on White's own property.
I shot like a bunch of it actually in my backyard, in my house. Like the animals that are in the film are my animals.
Which sets the scene for an incredible story to unfold.
All the performances are very honest and grounded. I think it's a wonderful, unique piece of writing. I think the comedy in there is very subtle and particular kind of comedy. And visually, it's gorgeous.
I'm hoping that people go through all the feels with me in it, and that people are, walk away going, I think it's better to kind of find the joy in life than to wallow in the sadness.
You know what? You're not the woman I thought you were.
Okay, that looks great.
I know. I've only seen the trailer, and I'm like, I'm dying to see more. And knowing that she wrote Maudie, you know this is going to be epic. It's on, I believe, around 7:15, so it's on tonight, premiering. It's really cool to have its East Coast and world premiere here on the East Coast.
Yes.
Which lots of films are doing. Of course, if you want to see the full film festival lineup, you can find it online.
Awesome. Okay. Now, it's all about the holidays.
It is all about the holidays, so buckle up. If you're not ready to talk about Christmas, well, too bad, because we're going to be talking about it, starting with Jill Barber, who is set to return with a holly jolly Jill Barber Christmas.
Santa baby, hurry down the chimney tonight.
The acclaimed singer-songwriter will take the stage at Halifax's Lighthouse Arts Centre on Wednesday, December 10th. Tickets for this one go on sale Friday.
Now, the Irish descendants are also spreading some holiday cheer back through Atlantic Canada this December.
Yes, so celebrating 35 years, the beloved Newfoundland folk group will perform festive favorites and timeless stories from the rock, led by, of course, their amazing frontman, Con O'Brien. The tour includes stops in Summerside, December 12th, Halifax on the 13th, Oak Island on the 14th, Truro the 15th, and Pictou on the 16th. Tickets are on sale now. I feel like it wouldn't be the holidays without the Irish descendants. They come, I'm pretty sure, every single year, and they always do a big tour like this. Like, that's a lot of dates.
It's so nice to be across, like, the Maritimes like that, so everyone can kind of enjoy a little taste of it.
For sure. Like, you know, lots of people come, they just come to Halifax or just come to one city, but I do love when they go to all those towns, and that's after they'll have already done a bunch of dates in Newfoundland as well. So, and those guys are just awesome. So it's really, really great.
I love it. Okay, well, the holiday talk is not stopping right now.
No,
One of the Maritime's longest-running holiday traditions is already gearing up for another season of giving.
Yes, so this year's Christmas Daddies Telethon, it's once again calling on performers to share their holiday spirit. Talent applications, including an audition video, must be submitted online by the deadline of Tuesday, October 14th. For more information, including how you can apply or donate, you can visit christmasdaddies.org. The 62nd annual Christmas Daddies Telethon is set for Saturday, December 6th, right here on CTV. Of course, we'll all be here, and it's one of my absolute favorite days of the year.
And it'll come so much quicker than we think.
I know, it truly will. And one of the best parts is the musical entertainment. It's so much fun. I'm usually in the studio over here, and I get to chat with them. So if you are a musician, if you know a musician, we definitely want to hear from you. It's always fun to see some of the newer up-and-coming talent. So please apply, send us a note, let us know if you want to be on Christmas Daddies this year. And it is coming quick. I'm not trying to wish away time, okay? I'm not that excited, but I am pretty excited.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you so much for that, Katie.
You're welcome.
We'll take a look now at tonight's primetime lineup. Time for one final look at the forecast, and we'll go to Kaylin, who's out on the weather deck.
Yeah, very pleasant out here on the weather deck now. Things have cleared up nicely. It's actually a blue sky above me as we're approaching sunset. A little bit of a breeze. Let's take a look at a viewer picture for tonight, and that actually features a picture from sunset last night. It was sent in by Julie Sheffield from Glenmont, Nova Scotia. And you can see these high clouds here, these high cirrus clouds being lit up nicely as the sun is going down. So thank you so much for that, Julie. And as for the Glenmont area for tomorrow, expecting mostly sunny day, high temperature near 18 degrees, and again, a breezy northerly wind. Day planner for tomorrow around the Maritime region. Pretty clear start to the day across the Maritimes. Morning temperatures a little bit cool, especially in the province of New Brunswick. A lot of them around the mid to high single digits. Now moving into the afternoon, most high temperatures for the Maritimes will come up into the range of around the high teens and low 20s. A lot of sunshine except for some increasing cloudiness for Prince Edward Island and a little bit of broken cloud cover around eastern areas of Nova Scotia, including parts of the North Shore and locations in Cape Breton. Stephanie.
Thanks for that, Kaylin. Finally tonight, a unique heritage home in Ontario is now up for sale, and it's turning heads for the guests that are already inside. No, those aren't people. There are dolls in the real estate photos. Why? Well, they don't come with the house. It was just staged this way. The realtor said they were simply trying to make the listing stand out in a crowded market in the Richmond Hill area. And it looks like it worked. The internet has been reacting with comments like, "This is what nightmares are made of." In case you are interested, there are 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom, and it is listed at $899,000. Interesting. Well, that will do it for us tonight. I'll be back after CTV National News with our next newscast. But for local news anytime, visit our website, ctvnewsatlantic.ca. It's your home for news. From all of us here tonight, thanks for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
CTV News, the Maritime's #1 newscast.